Okay, here I am. I'm live. 7:26 on Tuesday. Hey, how about that? I might even be early. So listen, I've been reading all kinds of stuff that Trump is doing, and I'm a little surprised about one thing. He was out of the country. Apparently, he was on his way back from Scotland when the labor secretary in charge, or the labor person in favor in charge of putting the jobs list together, was fired. He supposedly didn't know it was going to happen. Lori Loomer never told him that she had influenced enough people that they decided to fire the guy. Now, Trump wants everything to look good, so he doesn't care about much of anything. You know, he's uh, believes in himself, and that's it. And he thinks all those job reports things in there. Well, I will tell you this: statistics can be made to say anything you want them to say. It all depends on what you put into it. It's like right now, our computers are such that an older computer is such that it's only as good as the information it's given. And the same thing is the same thing with the jobs thing. It's only as good as the information it's given. And statistics are just can be manipulated by anybody. I know kids in high school can do it now. I mean, we didn't have statistics in high school when I was in high school. You know, it's actually a whole you can almost get a degree in it in college. It's it can be complicated, but it's not that complicated to manipulate it. It's complicated getting the information to manipulate it. Maybe I don't know. I don't know enough about it to know, but I do know that it is fairly. I've been told by people that are supposed to know what they're talking about that manipulating statistics is very easy. That's why statistics are not considered a empirical science. I don't know why, but anyhow. So, what else is going on? Well, I just read this before I came on the air that Trump basically endorsed Vance for the head of MAGA, which I guess is, president as well. I don't know. But he said that him and Rubio should get together. If Vance becomes president of the United States and is elected president of the United States, we will have Orwell's 1984. What else you can think of? Anything that goes along those lines. I mean, you'll have 1933 all over again. He is an arrogant son of a bitch. He's fairly smart, but he's just arrogant, and he is definitely a racist. And you got to remember, wasn't much long before the election last time that he was calling before he got chosen to be it's like a year, I think, before he got chosen to be the vice presidential candidate. He was going around calling Trump a Hitler. So he's two-faced. That makes him very, very dangerous. And I don't think he's equipped to handle what's coming. And I'm not talking about price wars. I'm talking about possible military conflicts with some of the superpowers. It's one thing to go into Afghanistan, and Afghanistan held us at bay for, I don't know, 10 years or something like that, 20 years, something like that. with a minimal amount of support and a minimal amount of modern warfare technique. So, you know, it takes, all it apparently takes is money and a madman. So, but we'll see. Being president of the United States now means you get rich if you follow Trump's lead. If the mega party collapses, Trump will go bankrupt. So I don't know if putting Vance, who's not really that well liked, in there, you know. But we'll see. It's not my job to do that, you know. Um, thank God. I started that story about before I went off on my tangent here. Lori Loomer was responsible for getting that guy fired from the labor from reporting the labor statistics, and he was and, and Trump was in the air when it was done. Apparently, he didn't really know what was. Well, he never really knows what's going on. But Lori Loomer was if she's the person I think she is. She was around the beginning of his term and started to cause a lot of problems. There was a lot of questions about she was being given information that sitting in on conferences and stuff that Trump has a habit of doing, which people without security clearances aren't allowed to do. So that she didn't have a security clearance, and then she was supposedly on the outs from the White House, but now she's back yelling and screaming, you know. And that's funny because the White House doesn't like women in power. They don't want to empower women, and she's empowered. She's got. But like I said, I've said this. I think when I did my video yesterday or the day before. Uh, she's got a million 14,000 or something like that, or 1.1 million followers on X. Now, of those, um, you have to assume that there's at least uh, a good portion of them that don't pay attention. They just like to follow people and get followed back. I don't want people following me back. If I follow them, I don't know. They might decide they don't like what I'm saying. Oh, sorry. Um, but the uh, the idea that a Lucy, where you going? Come here. My girl Lucy's here. You can't really see her with this setup with the live camera because there's. Oh, maybe you can't. I don't know what you see because I'm looking at myself being framed right now. So oh, now she's gone. All right, see you later. She's had a rough day. Uh, I don't understand these influencers when you're in a country of 300 some odd million people. Um, Even if what 100 million, 200 million people voted, I don't know 180. Well, I don't know exactly how many people actually voted, but you have all these people out there. How can one person get so much power? And why are the Republicans that afraid of only a million people? They've got all these millions of followers in the mega industry, so why would they be afraid of somebody, some little person? You know, and I never trust women that wear their hair the way she does, pulled so that tight back. I'm just assuming they're just into pain. You know, because they look like they're in pain all the time. I don't know anything about her really educationally wise, but she seems to have a lot of it. How do you get that kind of influence over people? I don't understand that. Um, it's kind of scary, I think, when you can get somebody to do that. Marjorie Taylor Greene wishes she was that way, you know. But Marjorie Taylor Greene's problem is that she just wants to be in the news. See, Loomer does it the opposite. She does it in the background. She really doesn't want to be out front, which is, I guess, uh, I guess that works for her anyhow. I'm looking for my little friend. I have a little lizard that hangs in my room, but he's not around tonight. He's a baby lizard. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is a personality hog. She's a she's not smart, and she says a lot of stupid shit. But she did, and they're going after what Clinton and Pelosi and a few other people for stock trades. And Pelosi's probably guilty of stock trades. They're all guilty, all of them, Democrats and Republicans, of taking inside information and using it. Don't doubt for a second that that's one of the reasons they got to where they are, and that they do use it. So there's no way you can really check on it. Um, but they do use it. But she got caught. Marjorie Taylor Greene got caught, and that's what started everybody. The Democrats started shooting their mouths off, and then the Republicans decided, "Oh, wait a minute now. Let's look at the Democrats. Let's look at Pelosi." And you know, but the Democrats are hypocrites, really. They want to take women's rights away from them. Uh, Basically, make them dependent on men. Yet they have some very powerful women in the Trump administration. They're in fairly powerful positions, and they're completely. Bondi might be qualified, but I don't want to go there. But the rest of them aren't. So you know, you have what's her face, the press secretary. I don't remember. I don't pay attention to her. So, but she's qualified to stand up there. She's very good at reading. I don't think she has too many independent thoughts. I don't think she's allowed to, and that's why she's still there. You know, and if you read the articles, we're talking about men and women in these positions. How do they get the influence they got? And if you're listening to a lot of people talk, they're saying they want to get rid of Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. That ain't going to happen, folks. Hegseth is great at bending over and kissing the red little spot on Trump's ass. That little hole there with the red little, put his lips right up there and gives him a good smackaroo. That's just the way, and that's all Trump cares about. They talk about you have to have loyalty. It's not loyalty. It's blind obedience to Donald Trump. You cannot disagree with him, And in fact, he's another one that goes around and does things and then tells Trump about it later on, you know. This is it's a dangerous thing because it basically looks like in Loomer, I guess, though she is in the political insider, is giving an example of the Trump administration not knowing, the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing, or the right hand not knowing what the left hand is doing. You know what I'm saying? This is not good. All right. And it's like, I don't think Hegseth knew that Trump was moving, or the Secretary of the Navy knew that Trump was moving the submarines. If Trump puts it up on the news. I've moved. So, you man, you tell these guys you just moved two nuclear submarines towards Russia. They're gonna find those subs before they get there, and they're gonna just if they try to do anything, they're going to be the first two casualties of any combat. They're not going to get a chance to be effective weapons because hey, everybody knows they're there. There's a Trump's always been like that, very flippant with the secrets. You know, it's like he took stuff home and it was labeled top secret. Now, why do you need that stuff? Does the president of the United States need that in his house, in a closet, or wherever it was stored? You know, unless you're going to try and sell it later or try to use it against somebody, you know, as blackmail material. I give up. Donald Trump is uh, right now he's not. Right now he's losing his mind. He's a little bit like I am. You can tell that, you know, when I get late, when I talk too long or it gets late at night, you know, I'm not very good at maintaining my thoughts, you know. Um, you know, when I write them down, I'm good, you know. But I didn't write anything down for tonight, so because I was kind of curious as to what to do, you know, because you don't want to. Epstein to me is they're not going to do anything about it. They didn't do anything about it. You know, Trump wasn't penalized in any manner, shape, or form when they played that clip of him saying, "Yeah, you can grab him by the pussy." You know, uh, I think this country's immune to that stuff now. Sex scandals, you know. This isn't England. If this happened if that happened in England, there'd be heads rolling. You know, the government would collapse. But this is not England, unfortunately. So, mhm, uh, that's not surprising to me. Um, it's surprising that they're making the issue out of it because they're playing right into his hands because there's other issues that I think are more important. The gerrymandering of the political map in Texas. I think that's an example of him trying to rig the election. That's just, I'm still not sure we're going to get a midterm election. There has to be you have to put a stop to these ICE agents running around with masks on, not showing any ID or badges, and pulling people off the street, and they're never seen again. That's like Gestapo, you know, KGB, Gestapo, secret police. You remember reading about that, kids? So, you know, and this really, I mean, to get rid of Trump, you can't, you impeach Trump, you get Vance. All right. And he's not going to change it. He's going to be worse. So, where's the deal they want to get? You know, when you ever talk to anybody, they say, we need to get rid of Trump. No, you don't. You need to go after the finances of the people that are backing him. His chief of staff. You go after his finances. And I'm saying not look at them. Attack him. Attack their sources of income. You know, I don't mean going out and burning this stuff down. I mean intelligent people manipulating whatever they have to cause economic grief to these people. Because even if Trump screws up the economy, they're not going to suffer. We are. If there's another pandemic, Trump's people aren't going to suffer. Trump was inoculated with the COVID vaccine long before anybody else was, and he went around talking about how, you know, it might not be a good idea. All right, look, Trump's brain is shot anyhow, so it doesn't make any difference. But there's, I was I was a guinea pig for the Salk vaccine, polio vaccine. My school was, and I ended up getting it 3 times, I think, if I remember correctly. I got the shot, and then they came around and gave me the oral again. Now I don't know whether I got it or not. Okay, because I could have been in the, the wrong side of things. And then when it was all over, my doctor said, "Well, they won't tell me what group you were in, so you might as well get it again." So I actually got 3 shots. Or was this, I think the second time, I think my doctor gave me the oral vaccine. You know, um, and we basically wiped polio out with that. Until I started screwing around with the measles vaccine, we were doing a great job of knocking measles out. Yellow fever's gone. Oh, I don't know whether that's a vaccine or not, but there's so many diseases, uh, and they say that it causes autism. Well, if it does, give me the statistic. Give me the statistics. Yeah, I said I hate statistics, but give me the report on how many people every year that take vaccines have children with autism. And because you have to look at this is one of those situations that if it's really good and it does what it's supposed to, the chance of getting autism is, especially if you're dealing with a deadly disease. I don't know, what can I say is a deadly disease. I don't really know. Uh, I had the COVID shot. I'm still okay. I got a pneumonia shot, which is a once in a lifetime shot before I left the United States, and it all I know is I got less upper respiratory diseases than I ever had in my life. I'm sick a lot less that way. The rest of my body is shot, uh, but that's my fault. I was an alcoholic and many other things. And got in car accidents and a lot of other stuff back in the day. So, 40 years ago, yeah, 40 years ago, I stopped drinking. So, about 40, yeah, 40 years ago. So listen, you people, I want to thank some people out there too. I don't know who to thank. I have to figure out how I find it. Every time I click on it, I don't get any, I don't get an answer. But anyhow, I got another subscriber this week. I went from for like almost 2 years with 2 subscribers, and now I have 13, and I'm very happy about that. Of course, I don't like the number 13, so one of you people out there has to go out and subscribe to me. You get notices and whatnot about these videos, the live videos, which are probably more fun than watching me on a regular video, because I can, if I really screw up, I can just do it over or whatever. This I can't do over. This is live, you know. And I try to keep it clean, But when you talk politics, God, and we have, what's good about this is we have football season coming up, which will be a distraction. And speaking of that, did you see where Trump wanted to tell the Washington Commanders to put their team back as Cleveland in the as Redskins? And look, I never thought of it as, when they did that, I never thought of it as being a racist name, because I mean, I've always been, I don't want to say a favorite of the American Indian, but I've always been fond of the American Indian, and I understand that they're, the most abused people in the world by a nation that claims, gets really upset by people doing the same thing in other countries. And when you ask me what I'm saying about it, look, there has been we attempted genocide on the American Indian. No matter what anybody says, moving into reservations wasn't the ideal situation. They wanted them dead, and a lot of people still want them dead. You know, generals had sayings: "The only good Indian is a dead Indian." I know some. I don't know a lot. I think that they do this all over the world to indigenous people. Uh, White people are definitely um, don't like other people, other skin colors. They don't like Latinos, blacks, Indians, whoever. They have a thing about that. And I don't know why. I said this. I've repeated this before. My mother always told me that we need to get along, and that and I've read things where people that are supposed to know a lot of shit will tell you this, that we can't do it on our own. South Africa found that out. You know, uh, Mandela didn't come back and just say we're going to have a black government now. He brought white people into his government. So he was a smart man. The problem with intelligent people, highly intelligent people, is that eventually they get stupid because they don't get stupid. They get old. They can't respond fast enough. So therefore, they're considered senile or what have you. That's what Joe Biden. Joe Biden's a very intelligent man, but Joe Biden got to a point. Now he's my age, maybe a year older. I'm not sure, and he started forgetting things and stuff like that. And couldn't go out and do a speech. I do things off the top of my head. I mean, when I was a debater, I always debated that way, and I won. So I really should start writing things down so that I don't sound like I'm going crazy or senile. Crazy I am. Senile, I'm not too sure about. Uh, but crazy I am. So what else can we talk about tonight? Well, Lucy's got a new vet. She's going to, not a new vet, a new shampooer tomorrow. She's got something wrong with her. She's scratches and scratches and scratches and scratches, and I don't know what it is, but I'll have to see what happens. Um, what else can I talk about? Really, not much. You guys should comment. I'd love to be able to chat with you guys. That's why I decided to do this, so I could chat with you guys. We could talk some football when it comes time. Well, actually, it's time now, but I never follow preseason. It's like, when I used to bet, I did because it was always a team that would the first, I don't know, half of the season or something, or sometimes the whole season, would always win by the spread. They were they would always cover the spread. They weren't a good football. They're usually not a good football team. Don't have a great record. Nobody likes to bet them. We give them points and they win on the line. You know what I'm saying? So that was fun when I bet. I don't bet anymore. Uh, I don't bet anymore because the odds say if the longer you do something, the more you're going to lose. I used to win at those pools. The box pools. So those of you that bet know what I'm talking about. The rest of you, I don't want to explain it to you right now. All right, so listen up. If you want to see more of these videos, if you want me to do more live videos or what, put it in the comments. Do something. Um, I am live on Tuesdays most of the time. I try to be. Uh, this week was good. I don't know what next week's going to be like. I'll let you know before then. But I go on between 7 and 8 sometimes, or basically closer 7:30 to 8. I'm on for, well, I've been on 30 minutes now. I'm on for about 30, 35 minutes more, just to give people a chance to find me. Um, but I tend to wander a lot, so I keep threatening to write stuff down, but I'm not home during the day. Like I wasn't home during the day today. I was at the doctor's office this morning, and I'll tell you a quick story about the doctors down here. I was told by my eye doctor that I have a possibility of glaucoma. You got to take this exam. I don't know when it's coming. Nobody's told me. We don't know. Uh, and says, you got to take these medicines, and I'll see you in 2 months. So we went outside to make the appointment. They don't have an appointment till next year. This is so stupid, you know. And I happen to like this doctor a lot too. She speaks English, so I don't have to depend on my wife or somebody else to translate things for me. All right, so listen up. Subscribe to me. All right, comment. I gotta do some advertising or something. So see if I can get somebody on live chat. I did the last time I did it, a long time back, last year sometime when I was doing it. Uh, but you can always come by during the week. I try to get my videos up by 11 o'clock, but like if I had to do a video today, it wouldn't have gotten up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So uh, you know, bear that in mind. But I try to get them up. Uh, Posted to YouTube at 11. They're YouTube, my Facebook page, Tumblr, and Blogger, which is, I'll give you all the titles, be available in the next day or two because I'm trying to improve some stuff. So see if I can get some other websites up. All right. So in the meantime, it was great talking to you. Wish you wish we could have seen each other, but what are you gonna do? So I'll see you. I'll be a There'll be a video tomorrow by 11 a.m. So and then we'll talk some more. All right. Take care. Bye.